Hello everybody, welcome back to our newest edition of On the Chalkboard at bloggingtheboys.com. I am Joey Ickes. We're going to go to the chalkboard here and look at my very favorite route combination out there. It's one of the oldest route combinations, it's been around for a long time. It's really simple, and we're going to go over some high level stuff, but it's got a lot of nuance to it. I want to go over a little bit of that stuff, but I don't want to get too in depth. This route combination is called 4 verticals, all go, 999. You'll hear all kinds of terms for it, but essentially what you're doing is you've got 4 wide receivers or a combination of tight ends and wide receivers or running backs aligned outside, and everybody's going vertical up the field. So what you're going to do is you're going to essentially end up attacking 4 landmarks on the field all the way across the field. So it's going to create a horizontal stretch across the field. We'll talk about that here in just a second. So on the outside routes here, if everybody's going vertical, we know where everybody's going. The nuance here is in the release. So all of the outside guys are going to take mandatory outside releases. So no matter what coverage the guy's playing, no matter what leverage he has, our outside receivers are going to be going outside and trying to get outside leverage on him. Here for the defense, I've got him in nickel personnel against an 11 personnel on the offense. So I've got 1 back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers here. I've got 5 defensive backs with your strong safety here up in run support and to help with the tight end here. And nickel personnel, 4 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers. And 5 defensive backs. So we've got our 2 outside vertical routes, and then our inside routes, depending on alignment or defensive leverage, they're going to take either an inside or an outside release, and they're going to attack the seam. And when I talk about the seam, that term comes from the fact that if this defense is playing cover 3, and their zones are here, and then the underneath zones are here, then there's a seam that runs up either side of the defense in cover 3. So what that allows the offensive player to do is to run up that seam and basically be open the entire time he's running his route. A lot of teams, especially on the collegiate level, use this as part of their quick game. That's what Mike Leach, Dana Holgerson, those guys in the air raid offense do. This is part of their 3-step pass game. So it's a quick game pass. It's not a drop back 7 steps, wait for your X, your most talented receiver, to run 50 yards down the field and throw it to him in the air and try to hit a long bomb. That's not what this play really is, even though that's what it looks like it could be. This play you want to hit in the void. On the inside, it's a 20, 25 yard throw. On the outside, a lot of times it's a 15 to 18 yard throw. We'll go over that in just a second. But here against cover 3, you see these guys running up the seams, and you see these voids here. And that's really where you want to hit this guy as he's going up his route. The way that defenses have started to answer this route is either they play a different coverage, or they teach their strong safety, their curl flat players, and their hook curl players to squeeze the seam as much as possible. So rather than dropping straight back, this guy might drop at an angle here and then react to anything that breaks across the middle. So this guy may drop at an angle, and instead of dropping outside here, he may drop straight back and squeeze the seam also. So they're trying to prevent that quarterback from taking these quick, easy shots here off the seams. So as you see here, it's pretty easy to see how this route is difficult to defend for a defense that's playing cover 3. What I like the best about this route combination is that it's designed with small alterations to attack any route or any coverage, that they can throw, that the defense can throw at you with the same grouping of routes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here and I'm going to get these guys out of their cover 3, and I'm going to put them in a different defense, and then we're going to go over how, based on side adjustments, the offensive players can adjust their routes and now attack cover 2 without the quarterback having to call a different play. So let's get our defenders back on the field here. We're not playing against Rob Ryan very many times this year, so I doubt we'll see 9 or 10 guys on defense very often. And so we're here, and now I'm going to put our free safety here and our strong safety here, and they're both up top here. So now we're in a 2 deep shell. We've still got our mandatory outside releases here, and say we're dropping into cover 2. So now we're in our cover 2. So now our guys are still taking their same releases, but this Y, usually the guy on the strong side of the formation on the front side has what they call a middle read or a bender route. So he has the option to bring his route here or to bring it to a certain depth that's declared by the coaching staff, 12 to 15 yards, 18 yards, and take that route and bend it into a post back inside here. So what that allows him to do is it keeps him from running right into this strong safety who's getting out to the numbers and staying on top of the route. It allows him to bend it back inside. So what does that do now? If we've got your W receiver running up the seam here, you've got your Y tight end running a post, your free safety's got to get out here, just like the strong safety, get on top of these routes and stay on top of both, and he's got to stay in position to react to a throw to either one. So he's going to end up outside of this W receiver. That's pretty important for cover 2 against 4 verticals. So what we end up having is the same situation with the free safety where he's got to defend 2 seam routes. We end up with the same thing with a linebacker defending a seam route and a post route. He's going to open his arm, he's going to open his hips and run with this immediate vertical threat from the Y. As soon as this guy breaks to the post, he's going to try to break to him, and he's going to end up covering him, which then leaves our W very, very much open over here with a free safety with outside leverage and a throw coming inside, and he can even lead him inside a little bit to kind of lead his route this way to draw him away from that free safety. So that gives it the flexibility to play against cover 2. So as a reader, you're saying, well, why don't teams play man? Why don't you play man? Why don't you play cover 1, cover 0, 2-man, man under? The answer to that really lies on the outside. So if we're going to put our corners up here and press, which you will probably say, well, you got to get up there and you got to press those guys, keep them from getting vertical. As a quarterback, that becomes a really easy read. Because what's going to happen is if one of these guys is going to end up beating this corner, you got to count on that. So if you get off the line, as soon as this cornerback turns his back to you, you know you've got it. Because what this route converts to here on the outside is it converts to a back shoulder throw, or it can convert to a comeback depending on how you want to coach it. But in the NFL, back shoulder throw is all the rage right now. So it's going to convert to a back shoulder throw, where essentially the way it's coached a lot of times is a quarterback is taught to throw the ball at the back of the corner's head. So if this corner turns and runs here, or this corner turns and bumps here and turns and tries to run, eventually he's going to end up with his back to the quarterback, and the quarterback's going to aim right for the center of the back of the corner's helmet. Because what that means is if this corner is what they call in phase with the receiver, or right on his inside hip, ready to make a break with any route, if you throw it at the back of his head and your receiver looks back for the ball, your receiver is going to be able to react, get back, and make a catch before the corner can turn around and react to it and keep him from making the catch. Because the corner's got to stop, reverse field, and get back in position, whereas a lot of times your receiver has the opportunity to see it coming, stop, and reach back for the ball. Des Bryant's made a ton of catches that way, and I'm sure he'll continue to do so here in 2013 and going forward. So you get that matchup out here on the outside. You throw that back shoulder throw to that 15-yard range that I was talking about earlier. You hit that throw, it ends up being a pretty decently easy completion, and you're able to continue to move down the field. One of the things about this route combination that I love is because of all the nuance that's in it, because of all the adjustments that you can make with it, you can kind of run it against any coverage in any situation. In fact, Mike Leach in Texas Tech in 2008 against Texas actually ran this play every single snap on their drive down to score the winning touchdown. And Michael Crabtree's touchdown catch came on a reception out here on a back shoulder catch where the cornerback ended up missing the tackle. Another thing that I really like about this route combination, and I'm going to get rid of my defense here just to make this part of it a little bit easier to see, is the fact that you can run it out of multiple formations. We talked before when we went over the stick combination about how you could run the stick out of 2x2, 3x1, 1x2, all those kinds of different formations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move our W over here into the slot here. The Cowboys might call this guy an S. It might be an extra tight end and they may call it an H. You never know. Terminology is different from team to team. I'm going to call it a W. That's kind of a West Coast terminology for it. So if we've got 3x1 here and a trips formation over here, we can still attack these same landmarks and the same seams in the defense. We still get our outside releases here, and we still get this guy, or the number 2 guy on this side, running up the seam. So now what we have to do with our Y is to get him to this landmark, he's got to come here and cross the field as he goes vertically. So now we've kind of got a really, really hard situation on any defender who's right here in this area, because he's going to want to react to this guy who's running in front of his face. But if he does, it's going to leave this guy wide open. So he's got a lot of responsibility here in this kind of quick throw, easy throw completion area to worry about defending. One of the other nuances that happens, especially in New Orleans with this play, and I think we'll see it here in Dallas with a guy like Lance Dunbar, is this running back will squeak out of the backfield here and he'll end up running an option route where he can either sit it down if he's got a guy right over the top of him, he can run out here back inside, or he can run back inside if he's got a guy with outside leverage on him, or he can run it off to the outside against a guy with inside leverage. So now we end up running all the defenders off the top of the defense, and a lot of times defenses will play cover 4 or quarters coverage here, and it allows them to put a top on each one of those seams that they're attacking. But what that does is it leaves only 3 defenders underneath, and you can get this guy kind of isolated with that guy in the middle, get him the ball in space with only 3 guys really in the area with the ability to make a tackle. If he can make a guy miss, can turn into a really big play. We see Darren Sproles make a lot of plays in that kind of situation. So here we looked at 4 verticals. Like I said before, it's my favorite route combination. There's a lot of different things you can do with it, and that's one of the things I like the most about it. If you have any questions about it or have ideas about how to stop it, I mean, great ideas come from all over the place. Just shoot it to us in the comments section. We'd love to talk about it. We'd love to discuss it. Thanks for coming to bloggingtheboys.com and on the chalkboard. Have a great day.